Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today we've got for you the IWI Zion-15 SPR, and this is actually my official review for this. So let's talk about my bona fides. Uh, I am, in my professional life, a camera operator on film and television sets. I shoot competitively for fun, um, but during the pandemic, when, like many of you, I was home with nothing to do, I did go through and get my AR-15 armorer certification. I've been building ARs as a hobby for fun for a long time. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. Um, and I've been very fortunate in shooting the IWI Gas Gun series to meet a lot of the guys at IWI. This rifle was sent to me at the end of last year, beginning of this year, for testing and evaluation. That means I didn't pay for it. It was sent to me for me to, put it through its paces and see what I thought of it. For those of you who don't want to watch this entire review, I will say this gets like an 8.5, maybe 8.75 out of 10. I think for a factory rifle that is around $1,100 to $1,200, it is absolutely outstanding. From the factory, it came with a B5 SOP mod stock, a B5 grip. It has the IWI and uh, Timney uh, trigger that they worked on in collaboration with each other. It's got an 18-inch barrel. It's got a 17-inch rail that has an ARCA rail built into it, which is absolutely outstanding. It has an adjustable gas block, and it came with an A2 flash hider. Anyone who's been to the channel knows I'm a precision rifle shooter, so I threw on the MDT Elite grip, I threw on the PRS Lite Magpul stock, I threw a dead air brake on there and ran my Sandman K with an e-brake on it. And I also ran it with a Precision Armament Hyper Tap for half the year. So I ran it with a brake and I ran it with a can, kind of to see how I liked the performance. I also threw a Radian Raptor and a Radian Talon in there, as well as the Magpul battery assist lever, the bad lever. I got to say, I was really impressed with the rifle. The trigger breaks right around 1 pound, maybe a little bit heavier, a little bit lighter. It has a H2 buffer in its stock. I ran 75 grain Hornady, 68 grain Hornady, both in 223 and 556 out of this. I shot some 77 grain IMI, Israeli munition industry. The same, kind of would-be sister type company to IWI. It's got an Athlon Cronus Gen 2 on there in minute of angle, not mil. It's my only MOA optic left. It's got a Warn 20 MOA one-piece scope mount. I played with the adjustable gas block a little bit to get it dialed, and running nicely. I will say my only ding on this entire rifle is that I am just not a fan of adjustable gas blocks. I always have a hard time making them run the way I want them to run. I think that they are a extra fail point you don't need. Me personally, I would use just a regular gas block and gas tube. Let's kind of get into what I thought about shooting this year. First couple matches, I was running 75 grain Hornady Super Performance. Was coming out of the gun at about 2,980 feet per second, which for that heavy of a 5.56 projectile is screaming out of an 18-inch barrel that is, just a stock barrel. I found the accuracy to be about half minute of angle to 1 minute of angle, depending on the kind of day I was having. And one of the things I will say that I think helps with that is that the barrel in this is bedded from factory. So this gun is extremely rigid when you're shooting it. I absolutely loved it. You know, shooting this at 5, 6, and 700 yards was not as crazy a feat as you might think it was. Uh, it really, the gun felt like it was doing the work for me, right? I was able to run it relatively fast. I was able to get impacts 200, 300, 400, 500, 6, 700 hits on movers. It's the gun itself is absolutely fantastic. Uh, I shot it offhand, holding it freestyle. Not really something I would recommend with a gun built for a PRS style game. Uh, I ran this rifle at around 12 pounds almost this entire season. It was a little beefy and it ran well, but like it was heavier than you'd want for an offhand shooting. Now that's me putting on a heavy stock, putting a can out on the front. I had 2 sets of long dog bone weights from Gray Ops Precision up there. Um, I made the gun heavier. I wanted it to balance on props. I wanted it to shoot well off props. And there's some concessions you need to make to have a gun built for that. Now, I shot this in a DMR division, which was any optic of any power, any barrel length, as long as you were shooting a 223-556 or 308-762. It is advantageous on a 90-second par time to run that 556 round. It's just lower recoiling. It's easier to track. You see your own misses fairly well. It is a much more ideal setup. Moving forward with that, I ran this, like I said, half the year with a hyper tap. I liked it with the hyper tap. I thought the gun ran really well. It had a decent recoil impulse. It was fast. Now, granted, that brake is super loud. It is not always fun to be behind a rifle running something that loud, but as a whole, it performed really, really well. I did find at one match, I ran a Lancer mag that they gave to all of the competitors at the beginning of the match. And I thought, oh, well, I'm running with 2 different ammos today. I have 2 different data sets. The zero's about the same. But I want to differentiate which is which. And I found that Lancer mag had a little bit more play in the magwell and caused a lot of malfunctions that I did not see this rifle having with a Magpul or steel mag. Um, Something to be aware of if you get this. But I think that was a me problem, not a rifle problem. That being said, knowing that if this was my full-time competition rig and I was looking at mags for it, I would 100% be using Magpul over anybody else. Those were the only real major issues I had with it. But I will also say, when I put the dead air brake on there and ran the can, this rifle sang. I think this rifle was tailor built to be run suppressed. It handled better, it balanced better on props. I liked the recoil impulse more. This thing was just absolutely perfect with a suppressor on. I think the design for this from factory, when you purchase it at a store, is somewhere between a precision rifle and a 3-gun rifle. You could pick it up with what it comes with from the factory and go shoot 3-gun with a 1-6 or a 1-8 and absolutely crush. Lightweight, fast trigger. Uh, you just throw a muzzle brake on it, tune your gas block, and go. But for the precision game, throwing the can on there and getting a good zero at the can and going out and shooting that, it just, oh my God. I could not have enjoyed shooting this more in that situation. It blew me away how much better I felt like this rifle shot. You know, I may have friends at IWI, but if this rifle was not good, I would tell you. I made it very clear to them early on that if this thing did not perform, I would talk about that honestly, and I would talk about its shortcomings. Um, for me, the only shortcoming was the adjustable gas block is a pain in the ass. I'm not a big fan of them. I don't think they did anything wrong with theirs. It was relatively easy to adjust compared to others. It's just something that I personally don't love. You might, others might. It's just, that's a me thing. It's not the rifle. Uh, Overall, I mean, 10 out of 10. Well, really like 8.5, 9 out of 10. If this was a rifle, I walked into a gun shop and I played with it on the wall, like, got it off the wall and got to play with it. For the price point, I would absolutely consider shooting it. Having shot it for a year now, I put 1,500 rounds through it of varying types of match ammo and some mil surplus. I've only ever had malfunctions that were induced by the magazine having been pushed into a weird position. I've never had it do something that was the rifle's fault. It shot accurately, it shot fast, it shot smooth. It has been an absolute tack driver and hammer. I want to keep this video short because it is, it's a review. You don't need to be bored to death listening to me talk about this thing. But if you're looking at getting into precision shooting and you don't want to run a bolt action rifle, this is something you should consider. It is just, it's an absolute hammer. It shot so good for me this year. Guys, thank you for coming and checking this review out. If you comment, like, share, and subscribe, it goes a really long way to help me bring you more stuff like this. I do have more reviews coming down the pipeline. And by the time you are watching this, I am likely in the car on the way to the NRL 22X night match before Christmas out in Central Tennessee. So if you're going to be at that, look for me. I'm definitely going to be out there. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for coming. Get out there and shoot matches. And give this thing a look next time you're at the gun store if they have one. I'm seriously impressed with this as far as a factory rifle goes. I can't believe how much I enjoyed shooting it, in complete honesty. My last off-the-rack rifle was a War Sport LVOA, which was a double or triple the price of this thing when I got it. So definitely check it out. Guys, thanks so much for coming. Thanks for being here. Hopefully I see you on the line. And if not, have a happy holiday, guys.